Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, and in this episode I have a bunch of new mods for you to check out. Alright, let's get started. Up first is Real Machine Worlds by Logic Sequence. This mod adds a bunch of, we'll call them skins for machine worlds, that look really great in-game. At first I was a little confused because I was only really able to get one of the machine world types, but after digging through the code a little bit, I found that they're actually dynamic with things like planet class, whether or not there's a ring, and they just look really great in game. The one I like the most is this neon blue and red evil looking one. It reminds me a lot of Coruscant from Star Wars, and all the models look really good in game. My only real critique is that because it is dynamic, I wasn't able to get some of the cooler looking ones that I saw in the workshop, but it still is a really cool mod. So if you're playing machines, maybe this is a mod you can choose to spice up your next playthrough. Next we have a mod that adds a bunch of what I'll call vanilla-esque origins. This is Kex Origins Plus by Kekadoodle. A lot of these origins simply give you a leg up for different ascension paths, such as Touched by Zero, but others are a little more involved. The one origin that caught my eye was Secluded Paradise, where you spawn on a Gaia world with a Gaia world moon in a system that is separate from the rest of the galaxy through a wormhole. This means that you are pretty safe for the early game, as no other empire has this wormhole transversal technology. The other origin that caught my eye was Extermination Coalition, which starts you as a determined exterminator machine, but it takes advantage of the fact that determined exterminators are friendly towards other machine empires, and spawns you in a research coalition with two other machine empires. This mod has some really great parallels to the Common Ground and Hegemon origins. If you're looking for a mod that keeps that vanilla feeling without going too crazy, but adds some new content, this is for you. Have you ever felt like there were limited options for the smaller megastructures in game? Like the only ones we have are habitats, hyperrelays, and orbital rings? Well, this mod, EP's additional megastructures, adds a lot of diversity to the game. This mod adds a bunch of smaller megastructures in three categories: deca, hecto, and kilo structures. On a smaller scale, you have the deca structures, such as the ore refinery station and the hydroponic station, both of which consume a small amount of exotic resources and in turn produce a respectable amount of base game resources. This can be helpful if you get them early on, but may not be as worth it later on. On the larger side of the megastructures, you have the hyperlane guillotine and the hyperlane generator, both of which it should be pretty obvious what they do. The hyperlane guillotine cuts a hyperlane between two systems in which it's built, and the hyperlane generator generates. During the last mod showcase, we looked at Hypertraversal Manipulation 2. However, Hypertraversal Manipulation 1 did something very similar to EP's megastructures. The last part of this mod is something that I thought was very interesting, which is the ability to build secondary and even tertiary starports and star bases in your star systems. I always thought this should be technically possible, but just game rules. But it's a neat little way to strategize a little bit. You can, if you got a planet that's close to a hyperlane, you can build a starbase there. Anyway, I've only showed off a handful of the megastructures, and this mod adds about 20. If you're looking for a little more diversity in the game, and to mix up the early game with megastructures, this mod is one you should check out. This final mod is one that I included just because it tries to do something very cool, and I think it does it well. This is City Ships by The Wandering Modder. This mod adds a new class of starship called the City Ship, which is just kind of what it sounds like. You can monopolize with giant engines. But there's a little bit more to this mod. Once you acquire a city ship, whether from the origin or building one on your own, you can go to your Policies and Edicts tab and scroll all the way down to open up the Upgrades tab. Yes, this city ship actually has districts that you can build and upgrade. If you've played the Nomads from the Dark Space mod, this is something kind of similar to their Alloy class. However, this mod actually does have quote-unquote pops that you need to be able to run the Ecumenopolis, and it's just a really great resource boost. The only downside I have is that I find the weapons a little lacking. It's not a very powerful city ship. Here you can see it taking on some drones, but it could be a little bit more. I mean, it is only a planet after all. And I know that sounded kind of negative, but the novelty of this mod is what makes it really cool. So I think it's one that you should definitely check out. And there you have it, 4 new mods to try. All the links will be down in the descriptions.